Hello, and welcome back to our Safe Sanctuary training. We're going to dive into one of the most important promises we make, creating a genuinely safe sanctuary for everyone in our care. You know, this isn't just a list of rules to memorize. It's really about how we put our faith into action, how we protect the most vulnerable honestly. It's the bedrock of everything. We're trying to do it together. This is the core promise behind our policy. Everything we're about to cover flows from this commitment. So as we walk through the details, keep this idea front and center. It's really the heart of what we stand for. So here's our game plan for today. Think of it like we're building a pyramid of protection. We'll start with our core commitment as the base. Then we'll stack on the essential layers or non-negotiable rules. How to set up safe spaces, how to navigate some specific situations, and then we'll top it all off with paperwork and online safety. It's all about making sure that the pyramid is solid from the ground up. Let's start with that foundation. Once you really get the why behind our commitment, it makes remembering and applying all the hows and whats that are coming up next so much easier. This is so important. Clarity is key. Especially for those bigger events where there isn't structured childcare, like a big church potluck or a picnic. The rule is simple. We have to be crystal clear with parents about those events. They're the ones responsible for their kids. It's all about proactive communication. It just prevents any mix-ups and makes sure everyone's on the same page about keeping our community safe. Now we're moving up to the next layer of our pyramid. The core supervision rules. We want you to think of these as the 3 non-negotiable pillars of safety. These apply everywhere, every single time. Pillar number 1 is simple and it is absolute. No adult volunteer should ever be alone with a child, youth, or vulnerable adult. This isn't just about protecting the kids, youth, and vulnerable adults in our care. It is also about protecting you, our amazing volunteers. It creates an environment of transparency and accountability for everybody involved. And that leads us perfectly into pillar number 2, the 2-adult rule. It's really just the practical way we live out that first rule. If we can't have one-on-one contact then, it just makes sense that we've always got to have at least 2 approved adults present. We're going to break down exactly what that means in just a second. And our third pillar is the 5-year rule. This is all about making sure there's a clear and appropriate age gap between our adult supervisors and the youth they are mentoring. It creates a healthy boundary and really reinforces the relationship about leadership and care, not just being friends. Let's get into the details of the 2-adult rule, because this is one of those areas where the specifics really count. First off, you need 2 adults, whether you've got 2 kids or 20. Both have to be 18 or older, and this is huge for accountability. They have to be unrelated and not living in the same house. And, of course, both people have to be fully screened. Now, this rule has some flexibility. For instance, 1 adult can be a roamer, moving between 2 different Sunday school rooms as long as they can always see what's going on. Let's make this very clear. These are not just Sunday morning rules. These policies are in effect 7 days a week for every single church-sponsored gathering. It doesn't matter if it's a youth group on a Wednesday night, a trip to the zoo on a Saturday, or a service project out in the community. These safety pillars are always in place. Okay, so we've got our rules down now. Let's talk about our actual spaces. How can we set up our rooms and our buildings to naturally support these safety policies and create a place that just feels safe? The main idea here is something we call open view supervision. Basically, all our ministry activities need to happen where other people can see them. That means doors stay open or windows that aren't covered up. If a youth needs to have a private chat, you can just step into a corner of the main room. That gives them some emotional privacy, but you're still publicly visible, which means accountability. What we always have to avoid are those secluded spaces and closed-door one-on-one meetings. Here's another best practice that just makes sense for creating a comfortable and safe vibe. When you have groups with both boys and girls, it's always best to try and have both male and female adult leaders there. It just helps make sure that any kid who needs to talk to an adult has someone they'll feel comfortable going to. All right, let's get even more practical now. We're going to tackle 2 very specific situations that require some extra awareness and really clear guidelines. Trips to the bathroom and transportation. Bathroom trips need a clear game plan, and these guidelines keep it simple. First, we always want to encourage independence. If a little one does need help, the two-adult rule kicks in. One volunteer helps while the other is right there, and the main door to the bathroom stays open. Another great strategy is just taking the whole group at once. For older youth, the buddy system is a must, and whenever it's possible, adults and youth should use different restrooms to keep those professional boundaries nice and clear. Driving kids or youth around is a huge responsibility. As you can imagine, our standards here are very high. Any volunteer whose driving has to be at least 21, have a valid license and proof of insurance, and be a fully screened and trained volunteer. And yes, you guessed it, just like in the classroom, the two-adult rule applies in the car. There must always be a second unrelated screened adult in the vehicle. Okay, we've covered our people, our places, and some tricky situations. It's time for the final layer of our pyramid of protection. This is all about the administrative side of things and digital safety. The policies that document our commitment and keep it going in the online world. Nobody loves paperwork, but it's actually a really important part of keeping people safe. For our younger kids, we need detailed check-in and check-out records, connecting them directly to a specific parent or guardian. For youth, who might be a little more independent, we still need to record when they arrive and when they leave, and make sure their emergency contact information is easy to access. Keeping accurate records is absolutely non-negotiable for accountability and for safety. And now, for the question that comes up all the time in our digital age. Can we share pictures of all the amazing things happening in our programs on social media? Here is the clear, simple answer. Yes, we can, and this is a huge but, only with explicit written permission from a parent or guardian. And even when we have that permission to post a photo, we never ever include a child's name or any other identifying info in a public post. It's a really simple but powerful way we protect their privacy and their safety online. So, as we wrap things up here, it all really comes down to this. The work we do. It's an act of faith. It's an act of love. And the core part of showing that faith and love is our commitment to being safe in our supervision. This is how we live out our calling to care for and protect everyone in our community.